Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, because right now we have this massive breakout to the upside for Bitcoin in the immediate short term. So let's take a look at this pattern right now, because exactly as I talked about in yesterday's video, mentioning that we have this symmetrical triangle pattern that would break out before May 28th. Today, we see this massive breakout to the upside from Bitcoin doing exactly what we expected. So currently, since the breakout is confirmed, it means that we have an active price target of close to 74,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. And not only do we have this pattern right here, there's another one that I'm showing you in just a second here. But first, let's get into the support and resistance levels for Bitcoin. Actually, just flip this one to green because we have a 4-hour candle close above this level of resistance. So it is now flipped into a level of support. And this level of support is sitting from 70,000 US dollars all the way down to 68.5K. Now, in terms of invalidation for this pattern, so meaning that we have to cross off the price target and it is no longer active, that would be whenever the Bitcoin price trades below 69.1K, roughly speaking. So if you see confirmed candle closes on the 4-hour time frame, with Bitcoin trading something like this, that would mean that this pattern is invalidated and it is no longer active. So the Bitcoin price is no longer targeting that 74K price target with this pattern specifically. Either way, if we do get a rejection sometime soon and start trading to the downside, I do think this will be a nice trend line as a level of support as well. So potentially, if you do see the Bitcoin price trade down, we can see a bounce from that trend line. But that is really about it for the bearish scenarios, because honestly, this looks really bullish, even though in the immediate short term here on the 1-hour time frame and lower time frames, the Bitcoin price is very overbought right now. So I'll get into that in a second here. But either way, on the longer time frames, so maybe the 4-hour and the daily time frame, Bitcoin is looking very bullish. But as always, we must keep in mind the levels of resistance as well, because potentially the Bitcoin price can get rejected from there. And of course, on this chart, we have a big level of resistance sitting from 71K all the way up to 73,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. And then, of course, above that, we do have the actual all-time high for Bitcoin sitting at 73.6K. So this would be a critical level of resistance to break. And I do think if we get to this level, it would take some time to actually break through, or potentially we could get a rejection from there, because the all-time high is a very significant level to break, and usually it doesn't happen that easily. Now, before I start looking at some indicators here, I do want to mention this descending channel, because Bitcoin has been consolidating in this pattern for a really long time at this point. In fact, it has been ever since we did reach that all-time high at 73K. So even when we were trading up here and everything looked really bullish because we got this massive bump to the upside, I was one of the only crypto YouTubers saying, hey, we are still inside of this range, and therefore we need to wait for an actual breakout confirmation with a retest and then a breakout from there, because until that actually happens, we can still just trade to the downside and continue to range inside this pattern. And right now, it is actually exactly the same thing, because last time we got a rejection from that exact level of resistance. And right now we are in the same situation here where we're trading back up to the top of this range. However, we did not clear above this level of resistance yet at 70.7K. So this is a critical level to keep an eye on here in the immediate short term, because just like here, if we do not clear above that 70.7K level with confirmed daily candle closes, then in my book, we are still simply consolidating in this pattern right here. Now, before I move on to the next pattern for Bitcoin, as well as some other price targets, I do want to share here that I called this exact move where I entered into a big long position at the exact point of the breakout from this symmetrical triangle pattern. And I called this out in my signals channel on Discord. And if you feel like you missed out on this move because you weren't up to date, well, in that case, I highly recommend you join my Discord server and actually get access to my trading signals, because it is completely free. All you need to do is join the Discord community with the first link in the description of this video. And once you're in here and verified, you simply go to this Trading Signals access channel, follow the steps right here. And once you have done that, you will get access to my trading signals for free. In fact, if you do register with Blowfin right now, you can claim a deposit bonus up to $300 just for depositing before the 28th. And yes, I did say May 28th, which is already tomorrow. So you have about 12 hours left before May 28th, 10 a.m. UTC time. So I highly recommend you join the Discord server as soon as you see this and follow the steps in this Trading Signals Access channel. Now moving on to the next pattern for Bitcoin, and it is actually this inverse head and shoulders pattern, which already broke out to the upside, confirming this price target, which is currently active at 72.3K. So this is another price target for Bitcoin that is active right now. And if we're talking about the point of invalidation, it would be whenever the Bitcoin price trades below 69,000 US dollars. So if you get something like this, where the Bitcoin price trades below that 69K level with confirmed 4-hour candle closes, well, in that case, it invalidates this price target and also this entire pattern right here. So that is something to keep in mind. And one thing that we must keep in mind in terms of the momentum for Bitcoin, because even though it looks really crazy right now, and if you entered into that long position that I talked about in my Signals channel, as well as in yesterday's video, then of course you are in massive profits right now if you entered that with any leverage at all. Either way, what you must keep in mind right now is that the RSI, which is a momentum indicator, is indicating heavy overbought signals right now, because Bitcoin is overbought whenever the RSI is at a level above 70, and currently it is at 76 on the 1-hour time frame. And usually what you see when the RSI is in overbought territory, yes, it can go a little bit higher, but usually there is limited room to the upside from here in the immediate short term, because yes, we are looking at the 1-hour time frame. So it can still go a little bit higher, of course, but at some point what you are going to see relatively soon is that the RSI will need to trade down a little bit in order to reset. It doesn't have to be all the way back to the 50 level, especially because there is so much bullish momentum right now, but it does need to kind of reset a little bit on these lower time frames in order to then make its next move to the upside. So that is something to keep in mind. And the way the RSI resets is either by the price just trading sideways, and in that case you would see the RSI move down relatively slowly, targeting roughly that 50 level, because whenever the RSI is at 50, it means that there is neutral momentum in the market. So there's no bullish momentum and also no bearish momentum. And the other way the RSI resets is if you see a move to the downside. And the other way the RSI resets is if you get some bearish momentum in the Bitcoin price, and then you would see the RSI reset more quickly. And if you really get a lot of bearish momentum, go below that 50 level, because whenever the RSI is below 50, it means that the Bitcoin price is experiencing some bearish momentum on that time frame. Though if we do zoom out a little bit to the 4-hour time frame, it is very clear that there is still quite some room to move to the upside. So in the immediate short term, there potentially might be limited room to the upside, but on the 4-hour time frame, there is still some room left to move to the upside. So that is why it is important to understand the different time frames when you are trading. And of course, at any point, the Bitcoin price can just get a rejection from one of those levels of resistance that I was talking about a little bit earlier on in the video. Now moving on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat maps, first of all, on the 3-day time frame, where we just on this move to the upside took out this massive level of liquidity sitting at 69.6K. And on this move to the upside, we liquidated about $185 million worth of people that were shorting the Bitcoin price, who just lost their money on their trade. And in the case that you don't know, typically the Bitcoin price gets attracted to where there is the most liquidity on this chart. And on this 3-day time frame right now, because we took out a lot of liquidity right here, most of the liquidity is right now to the downside, sitting at 68,000 US dollars. Although, of course, since we do have those active price targets and a lot of bullish momentum, potentially we can just see the price shoot up higher from here. But it is important that you remember that that liquidity is there. Although if we do look at the 1-week time frame for these Bitcoin liquidation heat maps, you can see that most of the liquidity is to the upside, sitting at 72,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. Now moving on to Ethereum on the 4-hour time frame, which over the last week or so has been breaking out massively to the upside, exactly as I called in my recent videos, because I said we were in this falling wedge pattern, which is typically more likely to break out to the upside. And in fact, I called this exact breakout right here. I talked about it in my videos, saying that we just confirmed this breakout. So if you took this trade anywhere close to the point of the breakout, especially with leverage, you are in some massive profits right now because the price shot up 30% and close to $1,000 for the price of Ethereum, hitting our first price target right here at 3,700, and is now targeting this last price target for this pattern, at least sitting at about $4,080. Now taking a look at the support and resistance levels in the immediate short term for Ethereum on this 1 hour time frame, because right now Ethereum has just blasted through these levels of resistance. First of all, this level of short-term support sitting at 39.20, and then below that another level of short-term support sitting at 38.50. But in the case that we do see the Ethereum price trade all the way down below those two support levels, it will fall into this next big level of support sitting from 3,800 all the way down to 3,750. But for now, I do think that that is about it for the bearish scenario. So if you do see Ethereum trade to the upside from here, the next level of resistance above is right here from $4,000 all the way up to $4,100 for the price of Ethereum. But one thing you must keep in mind is this Fibonacci level right here, because this is the 0.786 Fibonacci level sitting at $4,000 exactly. So this will be some tough resistance to break. So if you are in a leverage long position on ETH right now, you really need to consider this as a strong level of resistance in the immediate short term. Now taking a look at Solana, which recently traded below the 0.618 Fibonacci level, all the way down to the 0.5 Fibonacci level sitting at $163, where we then found some support and are now blasting off to the upside, targeting that 0.618 Fibonacci level once again, sitting at $174 for the price of Solana. So now taking a look at the support and resistance levels for Sol on the 1 hour time frame. My call recently was perfect once again, and I'm not here to flex on you, but I'm just saying my calls have been extremely accurate recently. I told you guys that if we broke this descending trend line right here, it could indicate a reversal of the trend. And what did we see? We got a breakout, retest, and a resumption from there, clearing above this previous high. One last trend line that I highly recommend you keep an eye on is actually this trend line right here on the 1 hour time frame, because you would really want to see Solana clear above that trend line. Otherwise, we might form a new pattern that would look something like this, but I'll give an update on that in tomorrow's video. But for now, it is exactly on that trend line. And at the same time, we also have Solana sitting in a massive level of resistance, which is this one right here from 171 all the way down to $176 for the price of Solana. So if we do get a rejection from here, we might get some short-term support at $164, and then below that, some more short-term support sitting at $160 exactly. And one last thing to keep in mind is that we do have that 0.5 Fibonacci level sitting at 163, where last time we got some very nice support right there. So this is also in the case that we do go that low, where you really see the Solana price trade down from here. This would be a very important level to keep an eye on in the short term. But if we do see Solana clear above this level of resistance at 171, flipping it into a level of support, if we do get those confirmed candle closes and ideally a retest, well, in that case, it would likely go up to the next level of resistance above that, which is sitting from 176 all the way up to $181 for the price of Solana. And I do think that that is about it for the bullish scenarios for Solana in the immediate short term here, because what we can see on the RSI momentum indicator on the 1 hour time frame is that we have already reached overbought territory. So yes, it can go a little bit higher, of course, but at some point soon, we are going to see the RSI need to move down a little bit in order to reset and then make its next move from there. And it's the same with Bitcoin, where because we have a lot of bullish momentum right now, it doesn't need to go back to around this 50 level, although that would be ideal. But if we do reach that very overbought territory, then yes, likely you will see the RSI reset a little bit before then making its next move, either to the upside or to the downside. So those are the key levels that you need to watch for Solana right now. Like I said earlier in the video, if you are new here and are somehow not in the Discord server yet, you need to join. It's a very active community with a lot of people that are trading every single day, sharing profits, sharing technical analysis. Okay, this isn't technical analysis, but usually when you scroll up, you see technical analysis here. Anyway, I highly recommend you join. You can do it with the first link in the description of this video. Thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.